Hello and welcome to another one of my riveting videos. In this one I'm going to demonstrate a little bit more on the Aux controller for the ATEM Toolkit. In this video I'm going to be showing a couple of little added features. So we go into Aux and there's the Aux there, and from the previous video you may notice that there's a couple of extra little icons down the side here, little circles with T's in them. That gives us the ability to be able to allocate a tally light for any of the Aux sources. And these tally lights are generally available on the connector on the side here, and as I've mentioned in the past, we can do the I/O control and set each one of the 23 available pins on this connector to either an input for a GPI, and as I've shown you before, we've got a GPI box here, or you can output tally lights, or a mixture of both. And on this particular box, you've probably seen it before, we have GPI, 7 GPI buttons there, and I've got 8 tally lights set for program and 8 tally lights set for preview, which totals 23. And as I said, every one of those pins, which is all 23, can be programmed within the I/O control configuration. You can then save them and recall them or load them as required, depending on the setup that you're using. But as I said, that's in a previous video. In this video, we're just going to talk about the Aux control. Just before that, these are the tally lights. Come back here so you can see I've got tally lights connected from camera 1 to 8 from right to left, and camera 1 to 8 preview rows, but they can be set to anything. So here, as you can see, as I'm going down the program row, it's selecting the tallies, and of course if I go to an input that doesn't have a tally allocated to it, there's no tally at all. And we do the same with the preview. There's the 8 preview row, 8 preview buttons. And if I let's just say select 2 inputs and I do a cut, you'll see the tallies are changing. Do an auto, you see the tallies are changing. Anyhow, so that's basically just standard tallies. But we have an extra tally that can be allocated to any Aux bus, and that is available on the Aux Bus menu item. And we just go to Aux. Over here you'll see there's a little T for tally, and what I can do is that if I just select, say, Aux Bus 1, I've turned tally on Aux Bus 1. Now what that means is that any source that's been allocated to the tallies, as I've shown you a moment ago, if it's selected up here on the Aux Bus, it will generate a tally, but the tally is actually a flashing tally. And to demonstrate that, I'm just going to go down and select a source, and you know that, remember, I had cameras 1 to 8 allocated. So there's camera 8 allocated, and if you see that here, camera 8 now is flashing, indicating to whoever's looking at the tally light, which I assume is a cameraman. He knows that if he sees that flashing, he's on the Aux Bus. And why would he be on the Aux Bus? Well, you see, a lot of people use Aux Buses to feed ISO records on sporting games and such. And as they're changing the sources on the selected Aux Bus for feeding the ISO record, this tells the cameraman they're being ISO recorded. And as you can see, I've selected camera 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you see there is camera 5. Now, this doesn't interfere with normal tally operation. If I come back over and select camera 5 on the main program row, you see it stopped flashing, but it's still on. So it's telling the cameraman that you may be ISO recorded, but regardless, you're on air. And of course, if I then cut away, say to camera 4, it resumes flashing, indicating to the cameraman that he's still on air. He's still being ISO recorded. So it's a really good tally system for him. Now, this same can apply to all 6 Aux buses. If you've got 6 Aux buses all allocated to doing ISO record tallies. You can set them accordingly, and of course you can turn them off and just run normal operational mode as selected by the actual main control panel. Now the other thing that you can also do within the Aux is, you probably noticed we've got load and save, and what this does is it saves and loads different setups. So here, for instance, you can see in most cases here I've got the Aux buses all set to program except for the one I've changed. If I go and say load, let's go load a numerical, which is 1 to 6. We load that, and you see that there they are, all loaded, 1 to 6. Now I'm going to just use another one of the toolkits here. I'm going to just select that onto Aux, so you can actually see all the Aux activity at any one time. So I'm going to come back to here, come back a bit wider. I'm going to go load, and I'm going to go and load all, let's say all color 1, which is just something I preset. So if I go load, you watch up the top there, you see they've all changed to color 1, as has done the one here. So whatever you're seeing up here is also what the Aux bus on the ATEM itself is selecting. So now I'm just going to show you, if we now put on, set each of the inputs to take mode or delayed, so it won't take straight away. If I then go and say load, went to the wrong one, here we go load, let's go load all program. We go load, and you'll see it brings it in, but it hasn't actually changed anything up here because we're all on take mode. And I can of course go through and press each one and take them, but I can also just press the rotary knob button and it will take all 6 at the same time. So there they're all being taken, all up here. So if you need to switch all 6 screens, all 6 of your Aux outputs exactly the same time, they don't have to be the same source, it will be able to do that by using the take mode and then pressing the take button. I'll show you the same thing using cameras 1 to 6, so you can see they're all different sources. So, well, there you go, number reverse. So this is will show from 6 to 1, just to show you that it's a different setting again. And you're going to come back here. I'm going to go load. You see it's loading. Now you can see they all go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but they're in take mode, so they haven't taken yet. And up here we're still on the old program. And then when I hit the rotary button, you'll see that they all take, and there they are now all taken up there. So that's a nice little trick you can do. This also will won't take the tallies if you've got the tally selected. Won't take the tallies until you actually they're actually taken in the take mode here. Now just one other thing I just wanted to show you while I was in here. Well, I'm drifting off on the old camera word. I've also included a little bit of a trick here in miscellaneous. You go to Multiviewer, and you see here you can select the Multiviewer off the ATEM, and let me just go and see if I can put that on Aux 1 up here. Let's go up here. I'll just select the rotary knob, and there's Multiviewer 1 on the Aux Bus, and as you can see there's a Multiviewer up there. So that's all Multiviewer 1. We can select up to 4 Multiviewers. I don't think you can yet select Multiviewers on ME3 and ME4 on the newer ATEM software, but if you could, they would show up down here. So here I can either select ME1 or ME2. You can see these are all the source allocations for ME2, and these are all the source allocations for ME1. And of course we can go through and change. Let's say, see this says the small monitor 1 to 8, then you've got the large ones. Now, once upon a time, you used to be able to change what was on the large left and large right, which is this monitor here and that monitor there. But in a later firmware release from ATEM, they took that ability away. Why, I don't know. But in the meantime, I've still left them available here, so that when they reinstate that capability, it will be able to be implemented easily here. But at the moment, you can't change these. So I can select them, and I can try and change them, but nothing, nada, nothing. But if I go and select small monitor number 4, which is the top row right, which is that one there. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, small 4. I can then change that source here to whatever you want. And as I'm changing it, you can see it's changing up here. So I just put that back down to there. Anyhow, that's just another quick little trick you can do. I can do the same with ME2. So if I select ME2, let's just go up here to ME2. Go up here, you can see that's oh sorry, that's Hyperdeck. There's ME2. That's ME2 Multiviewer. And again, I can come down here. You can see I selected Hyperdeck down there. So you can just come down here and select any source that you want. There you go. There's color bars up there on number small 7. So that's changing all the sources. So that's just another little nicety that you can have. You can see you can also save and load multi-viewer settings. If I go to load, use my other hand here, you go load. This is getting all the multi-view files. And I guess I haven't got any files there yet. But anyhow, so that's setting up multi-viewers. See you in the next video.